Okay, Raheem, this next game is tricky from this standpoint. There's a lot of uncertainty about both Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts, who I expect to play, but Jordan Love got knocked out, beat up in the game against the Chicago Bears last week. Jalen Hurts has not played in a few weeks since he got concussed against the Washington Commanders. That, to me, is this great unknown in the matchup. Green Bay has not played great against big teams this year. Philly has been a tremendous, tremendous home team. But how much adversity has Philly faced in a lot of these home games? And we know this about Philly in playoff games. If it goes bad early and Jalen Hurts is a little sluggish maybe after that concussion, there's a little bit of a rust factor, that crowd in Philadelphia that will be rocking and rolling and ready to go, they will turn on that team and they will turn on them very quickly. Where do you stand on this game? Knowing what we know about Love, knowing what we know about Hurts, who's going to play, he was in practice today, he had the helmet on, he's going to be out there. Are we confident? Are we leery? Where do we stand here with the Eagles and the Packers? And I want to make sure the line is exactly where it should be at 4.5 minus 115 for Philadelphia.
So I wanted to play the Eagles, but the problem I'm having is Jalen Hurts is coming back from the concussion, and Jalen Hurts hasn't really played football in almost a month. I mean, you're talking about the last time he's played was against the Washington Commanders on December 22nd. I mean, right now it's January the 9th. So I just think that's a long time to not play any football. And I think that makes it tough to lay a bet on the Eagles. But I think the Eagles are the superior team. And as you said, JJ, you look at the fact that the Green Bay Packers, they've been bullies. They've been like the Cowboys of last year. They beat all of these teams except for the teams with the winning records. I mean, they lose to the Eagles, they lose to the Vikings, they lose to the Lions twice, the Vikings twice, and then they finally close it out against the Bears, and you lose one of your key weapons in Christian Watson. Now, if I have to make a bet on this game, this is how I'm approaching it. Because when you see quarterbacks come off the concussion protocol and they hadn't played a while, they tend to have a slow start. So I think this is a cousin Sal special type game. I think you take Green Bay in the first half, and then I think you take Philadelphia to win the game. So I think Green Bay in the first half is like +3 or so. You can do that, or you can do Green Bay Packers to win the first half, Eagles to win the full game.
Oh, I love this. I love when we're getting exotic out here. I'm inclined to just sort of go with Philadelphia, and this might be because I didn't think that Jalen Hurts really got that dinged up from that game and the hit that he took against Washington. I do think that he was sufficiently concussed to be out of that game, but I think the Eagles were being strategic with holding him out over the balance of the other two games. And I think, the version of Jalen Hurts that has been behind this Eagles offense, they don't throw the ball a lot, and they don't need to throw the ball a lot. Now, I do think that they could throw the ball a decent amount against this Green Bay defense. Jair Alexander is out, and we watch the inability of Green Bay to get home in any way, shape, or form, to put any kind of meaningful pressure on Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold stood in a clean pocket and picked them apart. And that game was not close. I mean, yes, Green Bay mounted their comeback. It's the way that the Minnesota has played, teams all season long. And there was, yet an opportunity for Green Bay to make a play on defense and to get the ball back. And they couldn't make that play on defense. So that game ended up, as a 2-point game. But the larger point is what Dream said. They're 0-5 against Detroit, Minnesota, and Philadelphia. When they step up in class, they get beat. And they are not the team. We were looking down the stretch, and I personally was trying to make a connection, a comparison to last year as they came down the stretch with Jordan Love and his weapons healthy. And last year they had Aaron Jones, who was leading the league in rushing. Josh Jacobs looked like he was headed in that direction. But that game against Minnesota, I cannot unsee. And I thought they were both outcoached and outplayed and out-toughed. And I think this Philadelphia team is tough. I'm laying the points with Philadelphia, fellas.
Yeah, I really wanted to bet Green Bay in this game. I really did, because I'm like dealing with the PTSD of last year, what they did to the Dallas Cowboys. They obviously have postseason experience. I don't love the way they finished the year, House. To your point, I'm going to be on Philadelphia in this game as well. And I know this about the Green Bay Packers secondary. It can be moved on. And maybe there is a little bit of a rush factor for Jalen Hurts early. But by the time you hit the end of this game, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are going to be able to have their way with those corners. And I don't think Green Bay is 100% right to go into this environment and to be ready to go. I really wanted to be on the Packers. I wanted to buy, hey, maybe it's a slow start. Not getting cute here. I'm laying a 4.5. I'm taking the Eagles.
My gut feel is that this game is going to be the exact same game we saw in week 1 in Brazil.
Wow.
Yeah, if you go back to that game.
So shootout. You think a shootout?
No, not necessarily a shootout, but if you go back to that game, the Eagles had multiple first half turnovers. And the Packers only went up 6-0 because the Eagles defense kept them in that game. And in the second half, the Eagles, they could not be stopped. They did whatever they wanted. So I think this is going to be that exact same game. And I think the Eagles are going to win, but I think they're going to start slow.